One
Yes,
minute,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Live.
Yes, ma'am, we can start.
A very good morning to one and all.
Hello, Radha, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, we can start again, ma'am.
Okay. A very good morning to one and all. I welcome all to the webinar on blockchain technology. In today's industrial scenario during this pandemic period, there is a need of a technology to secure our data ledgers from getting corrupted and also to bring transparency to our digital transactions. So this webinar provides us the skill sets required to share information and data between the open and private business networks. Now I call upon Dr. S. Gayatri, Head, Department of Computer Science, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I take immense pleasure in welcoming you all for today's webinar on blockchain technology, organized by Department of Computer Science in association with IQAC of Sri Swami College for Women. I deem it a privilege to welcome our Honorable Chairman, Sri M.A.K. Balakrishnan, respected directors, Mr. K.B. Rajmohan, Mr. K.B. Arun, and Mr. K.B. Krishnanan. I humbly welcome our beloved Dean, Dr. R. Revati ma'am, and our dynamic principal, Dr. R. Geeta Rani ma'am. I extend my heartiest welcome to our resource person, Ms. Revati Varadarajan, Delivery Manager, Tata Consultancy Services, Chennai. She got 17 plus years of experience in Tata Consultancy Service, delivery leadership, project and project management, governance, solution architecture, technical design, and developing enterprise solution and architecture for retail banks. She is a specialist in solution and technology architecture and design, technical leadership, technology strategy and planning, project management and execution, client management, cost proposals, coding, and innovation. On behalf of Sri Swami College for Women, on behalf of the Department of Computer Science, we welcome you, ma'am, for our today's webinar. Warm welcome, ma'am. I also extend my warm welcome to my dear colleagues and my department faculty members and my dear students. Once again, welcome you all. Thank you.
It's now high time to, thank you ma'am. It's now high time to open the session by Ms. Revati Varadarajan, Delivery Manager, Tata Consultancy Service, Chennai. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Gayatri ma'am and Gayatri Radha ma'am as well for the beautiful introduction. I'm just quickly sharing my screen. Let me know when you are able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen? Can anyone respond? Is my voice audible? Is the coordinator there, Priyanka? Is my voice audible, Priyanka?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me put it up. Okay. All right. So let me get started. Thanks, everyone. A very good afternoon, and it's 12 o'clock, 12:05, and it's almost close to lunchtime. I think that you might be going to feed your stomach in some time. So before that, let me feed your brain with blockchain technology a little bit. As a blockchain technology, it is a heavy concept, but I've made it as simple as I can so that I can explain to the students. And before we go into the blockchain technology, I would like to thank Radha ma'am for the welcome note and and Gayatri ma'am for the introduction part, and special thanks to Geeta Rani madam for opening up such a forum for learning. And for me, this is the first session with a women only forum like this. So a warm welcome to all the young and energetic girls in the webinar today. And coming to topic of the day, blockchain, right? Right. Let me put it in the slide mode. Right. Before I jump on to the agenda or the topic of the session, I would like to first call out and say that I am a person who don't like monologue. I want it to be an interactive session. So anybody has any questions, you can stop me anytime. And I would also like to have a Q&A session part of the presentation. Probably let's take 5 slides. After five slides, let's go for a Q&A. And I've requested Gayatri ma'am to recognize the student whoever is going to answer most of the questions that's being asked in the session. Will be called out as the on the spot. What can I say? An on-the-spot award for an active participation in the blockchain webinar, something of that sort. Yeah, right. So let's get started. Right. So agenda for today is we're going to talk about the history of currency, what is blockchain, and what is hashing in blockchain, and then the trust and security of blockchain, the real-world examples of blockchain, and programming languages used in blockchain, and the certifications programs that are involved in blockchain. Before starting this particular session, Gayatri man kind of nailed it. She said what blockchain is all about in a simple term. She said that it is all about giving security and transparency to financial transactions or any sort of assets or any sort of cash movements or asset movements or anything. So in simple terms or in simple words, that's what it is. Blockchain is all about giving security and transparency for the financial transactions and assets. Right. So let's go on and look at the history of currency. Right. We all know that, right? In 9000 BC, barter begins. Barter is nothing but where people were doing trading using the cultivation, whatever they were doing. For example, they exchange cows and sheep for getting grains, and they exchange grains for getting oils and other things. So those the currency was not in existence at all. So these kind of trading is what people were doing. And then in 600 BC, the first currency was recorded in the ancient kingdom of Lydia. Now it is in Turkey. And 1250 AD, the international trade flourished, and it was a gold coin that kept a stable value for more than centuries. And then in 1290 AD, Marco Polo. Girls, you can probably note down whatever I'm saying because there is a Q&A followed by this, right? In 1290 AD, Marco Polo introduced the concept of bank notes to Europe from China, where paper currencies had been in circulation. But when Columbus identified or found America, right, the currencies was destabilized. And then in 1871, the first e-money came into existence when Western Union transferred funds from West to East Coast of America, and they were using telegram for transferring funds. And then there came the existence of credit card when the man named Frank McMacarrow, when he found himself without enough cash for his dinner, he created a credit card called a Dinner Club's Card, which was the world's first credit card. And in 1967, there was the invention of ATM, where the Barclays Bank in UK first installed the automatic teller machine. Right? This doesn't end here. It goes on. In 1983, the telephone banking. So Bank of Scotland first offered the customer to transfer funds. Just imagine the telephone banking was used to transfer funds. The television and the phone should be used by the customer in order to transfer funds. And then internet banking came into picture. Although internet banking came into picture in 1990, it took almost like 10 years to reach 2 million internet banking users for the world famous bank. So the usage of the internet banking was less in 1990, but then now it's like everybody uses internet banking. And similarly, in 1997, something called the Speed Pass were the first examples of contactless payment. But now the concept of contactless payment is everywhere in the globe. You all might know 2000 Y2K, right? So this marks an era for letting the customer to go online and modern. The fear of computer has been gone. So this was an era of marking the computer into the existence. Then came the chip and pin, where the debit cards and credit cards are widely being used, and similarly the fraudulent transactions are also booming. The protection against the plastic card was required, and that came the chip and pin in 2005. In 2009 is called the birth of Bitcoin. A person named Satoshi Nakamoto, right? I repeat this name, Satoshi Nakamoto. He posted a paper about the cryptocurrency on internet in 2008, and this became this gave emergence to the Bitcoin in 2009, right? And then in 2014, Apple, not just Apple Pay alone, all sort of mobile apps for payments has been introduced post 2014. And 2016, the blockchain, the banks and businesses still seems more interested in the underlying blockchain technology. So that is the history of the currency and the blockchain technology and Bitcoin, right? So let's move on to what's on your mind about blockchain. Can someone unmute yourself and tell me what blockchain is all about in your mind? Anybody? Priyanka, Saranya, Lakshmi, Purnima, all those names I saw on the webinar. Can anyone unmute yourself? Right, silence. So what is blockchain, right? So can we call blockchain as a backbone of all major cryptocurrencies? When we say cryptocurrencies, is the virtual currency or the digital currency. So blockchain can also be called as a database, right? So now you might be wondering, what is it different with blockchain database and other database? You might be aware of relational database, non-relational database, open source database, and everything, right? Non-SQL database coming into existence now. So what is it different with blockchain database? Blockchain works well in the distributed or a decentralized environment. So there are too many new words for you, probably cryptocurrency or a decentralized network or a distributed network. Let's see all of that now in few seconds, right? Can anyone tell me what is cryptocurrency before we jump on and see what is cryptocurrency? Probably team, you will have to interact with me. I won't do monologue. Right. Let me move on. I'll catch you in Q&A. Right. So what is cryptocurrency? Right. So as I said before, cryptocurrency is the digital money created from the code. It can also be called as the virtual currency. And what it does to the economy, the cryptocurrency economy is monitored by peer-to-peer internet portals. So when we say peer-to-peer, it is like person to person. Like myself and Priyanka can do the online transactions without having a third person or a governance or any authority to authorize or authenticate the transactions that we are doing. So that is in simple terms doing a transaction with cryptocurrency. And cryptocurrency is an encrypted string of data or hash encoded to signify one unit of currency. Say, for example, I transfer $10 to Priyanka, right? So that $10 that I transfer to Priyanka is stored as a hash key value or an encoded value. You can probably imagine an encoded string or a hash key value, if you know what hash key is all about. So data as such is not stored as an amount. The data is stored in hash. So when the data is stored in hash key value or encoded value, it cannot be hampered or it cannot be manipulated by any third party. In that way, it provides a lot of security to the financial transactions that you are doing. So what are the examples of cryptocurrency? As we said, Bitcoin is one of the first cryptocurrency in the world. It is a decentralized form of digital cash, right? It eliminates the need for the traditional intermediates like bank or government or any sort of central authority for monitoring the financial transactions. Next is Ethereum, right? So Ethereum is a platform allows startup to create a DApp. So when we say a DApp, it's like you can create an app which can help to exchange assets between a party to party. It can be a content, probably say for example, Saranya has created a project plan, right? And she wanted to implement that project. Before it gets floated out to public and before it's been diluted, right? She can create the content in blockchain, and it becomes like an IP for the date for the story that she has. So that is the giving security for the content that you have, other than the financial transactions or the money or anything of that sort. Even your certificates, right? The certificates that you get, you can secure your certificates. The stories that you write, you can secure that. Any sort of idea, your eureka moment ideas, you can store that as well, so that it's not being diluted and it is secure and it is transparent to the whole world, right? And the next example of cryptocurrency is XRP. This is another digital currency which is widely issued and partly managed by an organization called Ripple. But whereas the Bitcoin and Ethereum, these are based on the blockchain technology. XRP is based on their own, the Ripple's managed technology, not on the blockchain. So this is just an example for you, right? So the next buzzword that we saw in the first slide was decentralized network, isn't it? So let's see what is decentralized network. So before we see what is decentralized, we should probably know what are the types of networks, correct? So the first type of network is centralized network, wherein all the nodes are connected under a single authority. Say, for example, your Facebook database, right? There are millions and millions of users for a Facebook account, and all of this data is stored in one particular single authority who owns the Facebook, which is the Facebook database, correct? So that is a typical example of a centralized system, which has a core authority that holds the access, control, and the privilege of the users. Say, for example, you take any bank, right? So any bank, you take the data that is being used in the bank is completely held or held by the bank by themselves, right? So that is centralized network. there are many examples of centralized network. You can call anything which is centralized, decentralized banks like all the banks, predominantly HDFC, ICICI, all of these are centralized banks. So they all have a centralized network. Next is the decentralized network. So this is the main network or the database which is being a backbone for blockchain. Yeah. So there is no single authority on the server who controls the node. When we say node, it's nothing but the user. Okay. They all are individual entities. Say for example, we have Priyanka has one entity, Purnima as another entity, Saranya as another entity. For all of them, right? There is no central authority who governs them. Each of them can govern each other. Priyanka can see what Saranya is doing, and Saranya can see what Purnima is doing, and Radha ma'am can see what Purnima is doing. So it is likewise, it is decentralized. There is no central governing authority who kinds of governs and authorizes you. Each of you can authorize themselves. So this is like kind of a blockchain is a kind of peer-to-peer transaction. So decentralized system have no core authority. Every participant in the network can access the history of transactions. The main part in this is like when you come to the centralized system, right? The data that is being stored in the data, say for example your Facebook data. If you try to retrieve your Facebook data, probably you can go back to 5 years data. After that, you can't go back, right? I have never tried it, but I'm just quoting an example. Right. So what happens to the history of data? It is with Facebook. It is being stored in the central store. So they have access. They can either delete it, they can either use it for the business purpose, or they can even alter the data. Correct? Any hackers, if they get the data, they can hack the data. But when it comes to the decentralized system, the data cannot be altered by anybody, and the history cannot be deleted by anybody. Once the data is being created, it's being created. It can be changed from one point to the other, but we can always trace back to the original position of the data. The history cannot be deleted. So this is about the decentralized network. What is distributed network? Every node is independent and interconnected with each one. So that is called distributed network. So in distributed network, there is no central system, and there is no if not everyone is authorized to do the authorization. So there is lack of global control, and thus there is a lack of single point of failure in the distributed network, right? So before I move on to the next topic, I would like to take a break here and have a Q&A session. Who is the moderator? Priyanka is the moderator, right? Priyanka?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm going to put up a question, Priyanka, and you can unmute the students and they can answer the questions, right?
Ma'am, the students are in YouTube, ma'am.
They're not
We are,
connected.
yeah, they are not in. Yeah, they can
Mhm.
answer through comments, ma'am.
Okay. Would you be able to look at the comments and let me know? Just fraction of second, not more than that.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, let me put up the question. So the first
Ma'am,
question is,
1 minute,
yeah, go
ma'am.
on. Yeah.
Ma'am, your voice is little low, ma'am.
Okay. So far it was low, is it?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Now it's fine.
Okay, you should have told me before it's Priyanka. I'm sorry about that. Is it any better now?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So can I ask the question? You can put the question on the chat window,
Yes, ma'am.
right? So which year is the birth of Bitcoin? And I'll probably ask the next question as well. Which year is the birth of blockchain? And I'll put the next question as well. Who proposed the concept of Bitcoin? So there are three questions. let's take at least one answer from the students, Priyanka, since there will be a lag and people are connected on YouTube. I was not aware of that. Is there any response? Which
No, not
year
yet,
is
ma'am.
the birth of Bitcoin? Which year is the birth of blockchain? And who proposed the concept of Bitcoin?
Yeah, we have an answer from Parameshwari, 2009.
Okay, that's good, Parameshwari. Priyanka, you can note down Parameshwari for the recognition.
Okay, ma'am.
And which year is the birth of blockchain? 2008. No, that's wrong. Who proposed the concept of Bitcoin? 2009 is Bitcoin, that's correct. Shakti.
We have answer from Vaidishwari.
Yeah, Santoshi Nakamoto is the concept of Bitcoin, that's correct. Vaidishwari, that's right. All right, let's lock Vaidishwari, and then the first name was, I forgot her name.
Parameshwari, ma'am.
Parameshwari. Let's lock both of them. All right. So let's
Yes.
move on. Let's move on again. Thank you, team. Thank you for coming up. Right.
Okay, ma'am.
So let's move on again. Back to my slides. Right. The next concept is trust and security. Correct. So before we look into the blockchain trust and security, let's discuss about the centralized network or the database that we currently know of, right? We all know that there is certain level of corruption in the government in handling the transactions, correct? So how it happens is because there is no tracking of who gives what money to whom and for what purpose. Say, for example, I'm getting a gas connection, right? So if I follow a proper route and go to the gas agent and give the money and get my gas connection, it's all good. But what if I don't go to an agent? I just go to the person who gives the supplies the gas cylinder in my house. So it's not being monitored. You just give a money to a third party and you get the connection illegally, correct? So these kind of illegal transactions that happens currently can be stopped if we have a mechanism of monitoring each and every transaction that flows in and out of every person, right? Imagine a system which provides a transparency on the cash to be paid for any activity to be done, right? It's being monitored, it's being recorded, and it cannot be altered or it cannot be deleted. So if you have such a system which monitors the monetary transactions that we are doing, and it records the transactions, and it cannot be altered and it cannot be deleted, right? Even if it can be altered, you can always go back and see what was the previous version of the data. In that way, it cannot be hampered, is what I mean. So it doesn't mean that it cannot be updated. It can be updated. It cannot be hampered, is what I mean, right? So this is the gap in the current central database or the current system that we have. So let's now look at the trust and security that we have in blockchain, right? So now I'm once again taking Priyanka as the sender, right? So Priyanka is sending $10 to Purnima, right? So when you're sending $10 to Purnima, what blockchain does is blockchain creates the hash key, the value that you see here, right? The $10 is being hashed as a value. Now the hash value that you send to your friend Purnima is being validated by a Bitcoin miner. Okay, and it's been authorized, and the receiver is Purnima. Purnima is receiving the $10 at her hand. Now, how is this hash value is being generated? how is the data, that is the $10 that you give, is being converted into the hash value. It's using the algorithm. There are many algorithms available in the market. Hash predominantly it's being done by MD5 and SHA-256 and SHA-512. Correct. Predominantly blockchain is using these are the algorithms. MD5, I repeat, MD5, SHA-256 and SHA-512. Right. Now, imagine the $10 that Priyanka sets is being stored in block A, right? And how it is being stored in block A? It is being stored as a hash key value. Let's take the hash key value as K1, right? And now, when it is being validated, when it is being moved from Priyanka's account to the receiver end, which is Purnima's account, what it does is it creates another block. It puts the initial hash value of block A, K1, and then it creates another hash value, K2. Because that movement of transaction, right, the amount 10 is being transferred to an X person, and for that there is a hash value K2 that is being created. So you can trace back, there is K1 and then there is K1 hash 2 that is being created. And once it is being authorized, right, so there is another block that is being created. Although there was a request from a sender to send the financial transaction to the receiver end, right? Then there is someone to authorize. That is called consensus in blockchain. So consensus, which is the blockchain block C, stores the K2 value, which is the hash value of block B that is created. And block C also creates another hash value, K3. Likewise, the hash, a chain is being created. K1 is being stored in the block B, and it creates a hash value of K2, and K2 is being stored in the next block, which is B, and then there is a hash value K3 is being created, right? So this is called the
Excuse me, ma'am.
blockchain. Yes, yes.
Ma'am, your voice is again low, ma'am.
Okay, okay. No, just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Sorry, there is a slight disturbance at my house.
It's okay, ma'am.
Hope you're able to see my screen again. Priyanka, stop me if my voice is not audible.
Yes, ma'am, your voice is very low, ma'am.
Is it any better now, or maybe probably I have to keep my mic? Is it better now?
No, ma'am.
Still low, is it?
Yes, ma'am. We can't hear you. It's very low.
I don't know what else can be done, because I kept the full volume on my hand on the speaker. Is there anything else I can do?
1 second, ma'am. Let me check, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Yes, ma'am. You can continue, ma'am.
Yeah, Priyanka, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So we were on the trust and security, correct? So a blockchain is being created using the hash key for each and every blocks. That's what we saw just now, right? So the next is hashing, right? So hashing, let's take any arbitrary length as an input. Say for example, hello world, right? So this particular string is being going into a hash function and using the algorithm. Say for example, there are many algorithms, as I said, right? SHA is predominantly used. In SHA, there are many versions as well. SHA 0, SHA 1, 2, 3. And then similarly on MD, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And what is being predominantly used is SHA 2 is predominantly being used. So this algorithm creates a hash key. So hello world is stored as a hash key value like this. And the output is always a fixed length based on the algorithm that you are using. Say for example, if you are using the MD1 algorithm, the length of the hash key value will differ. When you use the SHA2 algorithm, the length of the value that you get for the hash key will differ. But if you continuously use one particular algorithm, the length of the hash key will be always fixed. Now, let's take an example of slightly changing the input. Hello world, instead of taking H capital and W capital, let me take a small h and small w. Will the hash value change? Will be a question, correct? Because we are using the same algorithms. Let's take SHA2. In SHA2, there are two things, as we saw in the previous slide. Predominantly used one or SHA2 256 bits and SHA2 512 bits. These two are predominantly being used. So this 256 bit and 512 bits are predominantly the output length that you get as a key value. So even if there is a small change in the alphabet from capital letter to a small letter, the hash value will change, right? As we saw in the previous slide, the hash value gets stored in every block and it gets moved on. And it's being tracked, it's being monitored, it's being recorded. But can we trace back, or can I, using this output hash value, can I tell what is the input data that is being provided? If you ask me, the answer is no. The reverse is not possible. One cannot alter the input value from using the output hash value. So in this way, blockchain, using this hash function, blockchain is providing many security aspects and transparency, right? How to create a blockchain transaction? Let's see that, right? As we said before, when two parties initiate the transaction, blockchain assigns an encryption, which is the hash key value. And then blockchain verifies the transaction and creates a block, as I said before. So there is block A that is being created, and then there is block B that is being created. And block B creates its own key value, and it stores the block A key value and block B key value, correct? And then the new block is being appended to the blockchain. So a chain is being formed with a chain of A and B. And finally, there is the receiver end who receives the transaction, and at that side you again have a hash key that is being created. So probably let's call that out as a C block, and in the C block you have the hash key value of the block B and the hash key value of the block C that is being created. So in this way, the transaction is not being hampered and the data is being transparent. So the real world use cases of blockchain we will see. Before that, can we take a break and take a Q&A? Priyanka?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Can someone tell me what is blockchain? In simple words.
Let's wait for 10 more seconds, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. We're giving enough time. They can even Google and say the answer, but that doesn't matter. At least they are actively participating in the webinar.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll appreciate them for that. Right, there is an answer.
We have answer from Abhirami.
Mm-hmm.
Abhirami and Maunika.
Right. Correct. Both of them answers are right. Abhirami has given saying that it is impossible to change or hack, which is right. And Monica has said that it is a database. It is a type of database. Correct. It is a centralized database. That's right. Right. Let me quickly ask another question. What are the algorithms that are used in blockchain? Call any two algorithms. No, for the previous questions we have locked Monica and Abhi. The next question is, what are the algorithms used in blockchain?
We have answer from Dhanlakshmi.
Yeah, Dhanlakshmi, good. That's right. Right, that's good.
And
Sakshi, correct, right. Correct. Answer is right. Thank you, Sakshi. Right. So let's move on to the session again. Priyanka, stop me if my voice is not audible. Okay, Priyanka?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Let's take the real world use case of blockchain. Say, for example, the real world blockchain in real estate. Say Alice is a buyer. So let me, rather than calling Alice as a buyer, let me put you girls' names. There are pretty names. So Dhanalakshmi is the buyer now, and the seller is Priyanka. So if Dhanalakshmi wants to get an asset, what will she do? She will go to a broker and look for the assets that are available, right? And then what she will do? She will go to a lawyer and try to get the verification of the particular document that she is going to buy from Priyanka. And then she will probably register going to the registrar, and the seller would go to the registrar and keep the asset. This is what happens in real estate. So predominantly what we have here is we have a lawyer, we have a broker, and then we have a registrar who is helping us to sell and buy assets in real estate. Right? What if we have a smart contract, right? Smart contract is nothing but another concept, just like Bitcoin. Smart contract is another concept using the blockchain for real estate, right? Now, what Dhanlakshmi does is, like, she wants to get an asset, she just goes to the smart contract, right? Where everything about the particular asset is available on the blockchain technology, right? Everything about that particular asset, the legal entity of the particular asset, and what is the market price of the particular asset, and who is the previous owner, and who is the current owner, and what is the history of that particular asset. Everything is available on the blockchain network. Nothing can be deleted, nothing can be hampered. So everything is transparent for anyone, not only for Dhanlakshmi. Even if their Purnima wants to look and see what Dhanlakshmi is getting a property, Purnima can see that, oh, okay, she's going to get a property of this much value in this particular area, and she is going to get it from this particular person. Of course, transparency, the privacy is getting a hit here, but this can be handled in a different way. I'll talk about this a little later. But there is the transparency. No one can hamper the data, right? So this is the kind of security and trust blockchain can enable in real estate. Not only in real estate, in many other industrial sectors. The next example, let's take is banking, right? There's bank 1, bank 2, bank 3, bank 4. Every bank is being monitored, authorized, and governed by a central bank. For India, it is RBI, correct? But say, for example, we have a blockchain distributed ledger system, right? There is no central bank at all. Everybody knows everything. For example, it is anonymous, but probably you say, for example, you cannot see what is the asset value of our CM. You cannot know the name of the person. It is anonymous, but you can know that who is the topmost billionaire or the topmost in India. It is course, right? Crorepati in India by looking at the ledger balance for each of their accounts. So that kind of transparency is there, and you can also see the history of the data, like where they got the money from which account to which account it has been transferred. Say, for example, there has been a 5 lakh amount being Y. You will not know who is that X and who is that Y, but you will know that there is an amount that is being transferred from X and Y, which will help the governing authority or the legal to take action in case if you want to question them. So that is the transparency and the security blockchain can give in banking sectors, right? So the next use case that we are going to take is the education. Like now, whom should I call out? Let me call out Abhi, right? So I have Abhi as a student here. What she does is like she goes to three other students. Say for example, she goes to Priyanka, she goes to Shreya, and then she goes to Lakshmi, right? So what she does is she goes to all three of them and say that hey, let's create a mobile application, right? So all four of them are trying to create a mobile application and they have created the mobile application, right? It is the ownership and the product for all four of them. It's not a single owner, correct? So no one can hamper that particular credibility or the IP of your property that you are creating. That's one thing. Next is what Abhi does is she goes to college and does the take the academy. Say for example BSc or MSc or whatever or MCA whatever she does take. And then she also goes to online resources like YouTube or IntelliPad or any online portals. She goes in and she takes the online courses. So, and then she also has a special tutor for herself to teach her on a particular technology or a particular product or anything that is trending in the market. So what happens is Abhi's education, right? Whatever she does as a third party, this particular project that I called about is out of her self-interest. It's not the project that's being created part of your third year academy, right? It's your individual experience or it is your individual interest. Now, what happens is there is an accreditor or a validator in Bitcoin, in blockchain, who gives an award or certification for all of this work that's been done by Abhi, right? And it's being stored in blockchain now. So now, whatever project, the mobile applications that Abhi and others created, no one can take credit out of it. It's being blocked in blockchain. It's been stored in blockchain. And similarly, whatever the academy that she gained in the college, including her percentage or anything, is being stored in blockchain. And similarly, whatever courses or certifications that she has done is being stored in blockchain. And the private tutor who helped her to learn something new is being stored in blockchain. Now, there is a history of data is being created about Abhi, right? Now it is available for everyone. Visualize the data, right? So where it is being used, the employer can come and provide offer to Abhi, correct? So this is the kind of system blockchain can provide to education. This is just an example. It can go beyond this as well, right? Right. So the next is blockchain in healthcare. Let's look at how it can be helped in the healthcare. Say for example, there is patient X and the patient X goes to the hospital, HCP, and he also has a pharmacist he usually goes. Now, what we do is the patient goes from one country to the other. He needs to carry his medical record wherever he goes, right? And what if he goes to abroad and there in this X person gets a mild heart attack, right? And doctors who are treating him in the abroad, they don't know anything about his medical history. But say, for example, this HCP hospital has given an agreement with the patient and the pharmacist and have created an agreement of smart contract, just like the real estate that we spoke about, right? There is a smart contract that is being created about that particular patient and it is being stored in the smart contract. Say, for example, the smart contract is one particular application and blockchain. So that's why it is called as smart contract. It's being stored in blockchain, correct? Now, it can be accessed by anyone from anywhere in the world. So there is no diagnosis that is required. The history of the patient is being stored and what are the medications that the person is taking is being stored and what are the diagnoses that he has underwent in the past is being stored. So the data is available across the globe and it is transparent, and in a single click you can get the data about any patient at any time. So that it would help the medical sector to save a lot of time on the diagnosis. Say for example, this is just a simple example. Say for example, the laboratories are being connected, the diagnostic centers are being connected, everything is interconnected and it is being available to everyone. So the amount of diagnosis time and the amount of time that is spent on each and every area of the healthcare will be shortened, right? So before we go on to the next topic, let's take a break and take a question. Priyanka, you're there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Quick question. What what kind of transaction is blockchain? What kind of transaction does blockchain take or do? Is it B2B, C2C, P2P, business to business, customer to customer? What kind of transaction is it? No, Mridula, that's not the question.
We have answer from Parameshwari.
Digital transaction, not Parameshwari. You are a bit closer. The transaction name. Crypto transaction. Okay. All right. Let me put crypto transaction as correct. Actually, it is peer-to-peer transaction, person-to-person transaction, right?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, peer-to-peer transaction. Vaidishwari has given the response. That's right. All right. I will move on to the presentation again, Priyanka, because we are running out of time. I still
Okay,
have
ma'am.
few more slides to cover. Thank you, ladies, for the beautiful answers. Right. So, what are the types of blockchain? Right. So there is public blockchain. So this is the public blockchain which kinds of provides lot of transparency to everyone. Like any data is being transparent to anyone. If that becomes a concern for somebody, say for example, whatever I do is being open to everyone. I don't want such kind of transactions to be done. Then the person can go for private blockchain. What is private blockchain? So public blockchain is available for anyone and any participant can be an authorizing person. Authorizing person is nothing but the consensus. In blockchain, the authorization or the authentication is called the consensus, or the person who governs and monitors and authorizes the particular transaction is called consensus. So in public blockchain, any participant can be a consensus and the data is being transparent. But in private blockchain, a single organization will have the authority over the network. That means, say for example, just like Ethereum is being created by Ripples, right? So similarly, say for example, there is an organization called X who owns the private blockchain. So now that organization can set the privacy data for what kind of data should be made private and what kind of data to be made public. But again, even though the data is being made private, not open for everyone, but the data cannot be hacked. Till now, 2009 blockchain has been, Bitcoin has been created. Till now, the blockchain is not being hacked by anybody. It cannot be hacked. So that's the beauty of blockchain. And then there is federated blockchain. So what is federated blockchain is like multiple organization influences the blockchain network. Say for example, currently you have Amazon Cloud, Google Cloud. Similarly, those kind of legend companies comes and provide blockchain network, then it will be called an Amazon blockchain or Google blockchain or an so and so blockchain. Then that is called federated. And so that particular organization can regulate the security and privacy of the data. Right? So finally is the hybrid blockchain. So just like our hybrid cloud, you might be knowing what hybrid cloud is. You can have both public blockchain and private blockchain element, and you can decide which data should be retained on the public blockchain and which data should be residing on the private blockchain. So this kind of provides a high-level scalable system. Correct. So any questions on the types of blockchain before I move on to the next one? Okay. Next is the consensus in blockchain algorithm. As I said before, there are three consensus, right? Proof of work is one consensus. Say for example, let me quote an example. Let me take Priyanka is a person who has more money. Say, for example, all of you guys, girls, right, in a class is having some transaction in blockchain, right? So now Priyanka is the person who is having more money in the blockchain. So when proof of work is a consent, if that is the type of consent that is being picked up for your group of blockchain, then the person who owns more money will be the governing authority in the proof of concept consent. So now Priyanka will be the governing authority for each and every transaction that is happening for your group of blockchain, right? So the next one is proof of stake blockchain. Here, let me call out Purnima. She is having more computing power in her system. She has more RAM, she has more network, the speed of her network is good, and she has good cloud storage for storing all the data, and she has a lot of systems as well, like computing power. So then, when the proof of stake becomes the consent, then now Purnima becomes the governing authority for each and every transaction that happens for your group of blockchain. Now let me call out Dhanalakshmi, right? So Dhanalakshmi is now, say for example, she is being using blockchain for quite some time, and she is a great user, and she has been very regular in using blockchain technology for everything, for storing her certificates, for storing her medical data, for storing her asset information, and for storing all her cash information and everything. She is a reputed customer for blockchain. So when the proof of reputation becomes the consent, now Dhanalakshmi becomes the governing authority or the authenticator for each and every transaction that happens in your group, right? So that's the maximum simple word that I can use for explaining that particular concept, right? So the most popular programming languages for blockchain is there are many. So to call out Solidity, and then you have C, C++, you have SQL, and then you have Ruby development, Java, JavaScript, Python, so Golang DevOps. So we are talking about blockchain, and then we are talking about the hash key. So blockchain is all about the database, and the data is being stored in hash values, and how or which language is being used is not a rocket science language. It is all the languages that you know. C, C++ is being used, Python is being used, Java is used, JavaScript is being used, Ruby development is also being used. Probably these Solidity and Golang, probably those are new to you. But all other languages that you are learning as part of your academy is being used in blockchain to create the hash values using the algorithms that we spoke about. So this is all about the programming terms of blockchain. And if you may wonder, right? So blockchain will definitely make a change in the whole world in no time. We don't know what will happen next, right? So in case if you are interested to learn something new, and if you wanted to take up blockchain certification courses, there are 4 types of blockchain certification courses. One is the foundation, which kinds of gives a business level view for the blockchain. You will not be a developer, you will not be a tester, you will not be an architect, you will not do security, but you will do business for blockchain. So the business concepts of blockchain will be part of the foundation certification, and the solution architect certification will be predominantly with respect to the blockchain design and plan and everything. And then developer, you can take up a developer certification in case if you wanted to do coding for blockchain. blockchain. And as we spoke about, blockchain is the one which dominantly gives kind of a high level security and transparency, right? So there is the blockchain security certification that is also available, right? So I think I've come to the end. Let me know if you have any questions. Open for Q&A.
Thank you, ma'am, for that interesting and thought-provoking address. We hope that our students would have gained the knowledge on how blockchain technology can lead to new opportunities and benefit businesses through greater transparency, enhanced security, and easier traceability. Thank you, students, for your attention and patience in hearing the session. Now, the students are requested to submit their feedback on the session. The feedback link is available in the chat box. The certificates will be mailed through your corresponding mail IDs. Now it is the time to deliver my vote of thanks. Good afternoon. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks to our resource person of the session, Ms. Revati Vardarajan, Delivery Manager, Tata Consultancy Service, Chennai, for guiding our young students on how blockchain technology can be used to make business transactions across the globe in a transparent and a secured manner. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to express my sincere thanks to our chairman, Thiru M.A.K. Balakrishnan sir, and our directors, Shri K.B.K. Rajmohan sir, Shri K.B. Arun sir, Shri K.B. Krishnanand sir for their kind consentment in organizing this webinar. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our beloved Dean, Dr. R. Revati ma'am, for her moral support and guidance. I would like to express my profound gratitude to our esteemed principal, Dr. R. Geetarani ma'am, for her encouragement and inspiration. I would like to thank Dr. S. Gayatri ma'am, Head, Department of Computer Science, for her support and guidance. I thank the faculty members for their enormous cooperation in organizing this program. Finally, the wonderful audience of this webinar who have turned up in large numbers and made this program a meaningful and a fruitful session. Once again, I thank one and all for your cordial cooperation. Thank you.
Ma'am, we have few questions, ma'am.
Yes, please. How encryption and decryption works in blockchain? Encryption we just spoke about, right? Is my voice audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Encryption we just spoke about. All the hashing function that we spoke about is the encryption. But as I said before, we don't decrypt the data in blockchain. We don't trace back to get the input from the encrypted key value. There is no decryption in blockchain.
There is another question from Jayashri ma'am, and the question is, what are the drawbacks of blockchain?
Yeah. So the advantage that we get in blockchain is a drawback of blockchain. I would call it as the main advantage that we get in blockchain is the transparency, right? So transparency is like anyone can see your data, correct? So that is the main drawback when it comes to your medical record or any sort of confidential data that you wanted to retain. But if that is going to be available to the whole world, then you don't want that, right? So that is a drawback. But that can be handled by using the different types of blockchains that we had. We had public blockchain, we had private blockchain, we had federated, and we had hybrid, right? So if we go for any other blockchain other than public, we can overcome the drawback on the privacy part. The next question is, why blockchain trusted approach map? Why blockchain is trusted is because it cannot be hacked. The hash value that is being generated cannot be hacked. The data that you store is not being stored as a data. Say, for example, I'm sending $10 to Priyanka, right? I am sending the $10 to Priyanka is not being stored as a transaction of amount 10 is being stored to send to Priyanka. It is being stored as hash value. So no one can hack the data. That is why it is trusted. Bitcoin is in existence. Where is Bitcoin used? Meaning, just like our paper currencies that we are currently holding, there are a lot of applications that are available in the market where we can go and buy Bitcoin. The current market value for Bitcoin is like almost like 2 lakhs, I guess. One Bitcoin value is equal to 2 lakhs rupees of our currency. So in case if you want to get one Bitcoin, you can go to that mobile application and do the transaction, peer-to-peer transaction. If you hold 2 lakhs plus amount, you can get one Bitcoin, and the value of the currency will keep increasing. Who uses? Yeah, typically at the moment, digital currencies are using the blockchain at this point in time, as we spoke about the Bitcoin, and the other one is like smart contract, right? Ethereum, that is also being used using the blockchain. And predominantly, if you take up the IT sectors, most of the banks are trying to use blockchain for most of the security elements, right? Say, for example, authentication and authorization, storing the username and user ID and password of a particular customers. For that, they've started using blockchain. The blockchain can be used anywhere in the data if you want the data to be secured. What is the best blockchain technology now? Blockchain itself is the best technology. So I'm not sure what is your question. Sorry. It was mentioned today that moves in the government will bans private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin in India. What would be the reason, ma'am? Right. So there is no governing authority. There is no legal governance that is in place, right? As we spoke about, it is the peer-to-peer transaction. Anyone can authorize the transactions that you are doing. So at the moment, there is no legal regulatory laws around cryptocurrencies. That is why there is a bill being banned on the Bitcoin. Blockchain is used only in transaction process. It can be used in any other process. Yes, definitely, it can be used in many other things. We spoke in the presentation. We spoke about the real examples of using the blockchain in education, using the blockchain in healthcare, using the blockchain in real estate. It can be used anywhere. Is using blockchain technology illegal? No, no, no. Using blockchain technology is not illegal. Using blockchain technology is legal. But there should be a lot of regulations that have to be put in place by the consigns predominantly. Say, for example, more than the public blockchain, it should be more of a private and federated blockchain. So when it becomes a private and federated blockchain, so there is a governing authority who will govern the data and who can store the data. So the more of legal aspects will come into picture.
Any more questions, ma, students?
No, no one can remove blocks from blockchain. That's why it cannot be hacked.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your valuable answers. And the session was so interactive. Thank you very much. And thank you, my dear students, for your interaction and your doubts clearing sessions. And thank you very much for your patience for listening the concept. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Radha, ma'am. Shall we wind up?
Yes, ma'am.
So once again, thanks to our resource person, Ms. Revati Varadarajan, and all my faculty members for the entire support, and my dear students for their interactive sessions. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gayatri ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. It was a good opportunity for me
Thank
as
you, ma'am.
well. Thank you. Thank you.